welcome. Thank you for coming this evening. I'd like to call our meeting to order. And first thing we have to discuss is our turnover to superintendent for his comments.
Well, good evening, board. Thank you for being here this evening, and thank you, staff, for being here as well. First off, I want to welcome Mr. Dwayne Peterson. This is Mr. Peterson's first meeting. Mr. Peterson is our Director of Transportation, so thank you, Dwayne, for being here this evening, and excited about having you on our team. Board, our meeting after spring break, I guess I should say, we have one more day till spring break, so that's why you see everybody smiling and ready to get one more day under our belt. Next Monday's meeting, April the 10th, will be in the auditorium. We have a large contingency of students that are being recognized, so that meeting will be in the Empower facility. It'll just be in the auditorium. Also want to call to your attention the STEAM bus ribbon cutting, which will take place on April the 20th. And there are the dates there for the ribbon cutting at each of the individual elementary schools. Excited about showcasing that to our community and celebrating the work that went into that and the exciting times we'll have ahead with our students being able to participate in our STEAM bus ribbon cutting. Also want to call to your attention the Legacy Mentoring Gala on Friday, April the 21st at 11:45. I think everybody's received an invitation for that at the Ag facility. And also want to go ahead and get on your calendar, board members, on Thursday, May the 4th, for our May work session. We'll have GSBA here at 4 going through some strategic planning process information with us. Board, also want to, I know we've discussed this, start and end times for next school year. We'll continue to use the this year's start and end times for all of our schools with the exception of East Jackson Middle School. We'll start that school next year at 8 o'clock to 3:05, and they'll be able to transport students to the middle and high school together on those buses. So I know that will hopefully help our community with that being taken care of and figured out so that we can move forward with our planning, especially with transportation planning for next school year, to have that information as well as our leaders have that information. So do want to call your attention to some things that have been going on in our schools. Both middle school and courses from both of our middle schools participated in the large group performance evaluation, and both all received superior ratings. The West Jackson Middle School soccer team, the boys team, has finished their season undefeated for the first time in school history, and their girls team is in the championship today playing against Buford. Some things going on at the high school. Antonio Pittman was the Athens Banner Herald All-Area Girls Basketball Player of the Year for the Athens area. In the Literary State Competition, East Jackson Comprehensive High School finished in 5th place overall in the state and had Abigail Cornelius as a state champion. She was first in domestic speaking, so congratulations to her. Jackson County High Schools playing this evening. The girls, if they win tonight, they will win the region championship, which would be their 7th in the last 12 years. And the girls tennis team finished the season undefeated, the regular season undefeated, and will move into region play. Jackson County High School Key Club came away with the 2023 Georgia Key Club Service and Leadership Conference with 8 awards recognizing their completed service projects. Also, the high school courses at both schools received superior ratings in their large group performance evaluations. In the CTAE world, our FFA have 2 teams that both finished in 4th place, Ag Communications Career Development and Nursery Landscape Career Development. We had 4 students on each of one of those teams, and they finished 4th place in the state. So lots of great things going on inside of our schools, and that concludes my update. Thank you. Dr. Hardigree?
Yes, well, thank you, and good evening to everyone. And I'm actually going to ask Miss Sandra Aiken, to come join me. She is our district assessment coordinator, and we are heading into assessment season. But before I turn it over to her, I just really want to give a shout out to her and Martha Wilson. They do an amazing job of supporting our schools all throughout the year with testing, from just being that support every time there is a need or a question, to the orientations that they conduct, to testing security and all of the things. It is one of those behind the scenes kinds of things, it's super important. So we really appreciate the work that Sandy and Martha do in our assessment division. And she's going to share a little bit about what's coming up in our district in terms of assessment because it is that season.
Good evening. So what you have, I'm assuming you guys have a copy of this in front of you. This was what was posted on the website. This is just kind of an overall of what's going on in the spring for assessment. We're currently doing MAP in grades 3 through 8. MAP is the through the year assessment that we do in grades 3 through 8. It informs instruction, kind of gives us a prediction for the end of year testing from the state. It also helps provide targeted remediation as we go into that testing season, getting ready for the state assessment. So we'll finish that in grades 3 through 8 tomorrow is the cutoff for that. We're also kind of in the middle of GAA, which is the Georgia Alternate Assessment. This is the assessment that's given to our students with significant cognitive disabilities. So we only have about 70 students in our district that are taking this assessment. The thing about it is it's an individualized assessment. It takes a lot of time on the part of the schools. Each student takes several hours to do one student. So it's a lot on those administrators and teachers who are involved in that for now. We'll do EOPAs at the end of April. We'll do MAP for Algebra 1, the only high school MAP we do. April, right after spring break, we'll do that to prepare for the EOCs. And then what you can see on here is just like a general breakdown. Grade 3, grade 4, the timeline they're going to be taking their end of course test. So the other document that you have is just a very detailed spring testing calendar. This is what we submit to the state. We submitted this in January and it was approved by the state. You have to test in the last 25 days of school. That's a state requirement. We start at the middle school level in grade 6 on April 24th. This will run through our EOCs and EOGs, the state required tests run through May 16th. We'll do makeups a few days after that. And then we finish with AP and IB. They'll finish on Friday the 19th. So once we start April 24th, we have testing every single day until Friday, May 19th. So it's all hands on deck. We will have district office personnel in the schools to monitor, which is a requirement from the state, and to just assist, just to be an extra set of hands at every school while we're doing state testing. So I'm happy to answer any questions if you'll have any questions about this. We're ready to go. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Aiken. HR and Student Support Services.
Good evening. I just have a couple of things to bring this evening. Your personnel recommendations you'll see in executive session. 'Tis the season. We are hiring, and we are looking good. So I'm very pleased at where we're at right now. Our principals have been working very hard. The other is our enrollment report. We continue to grow. So Ms. Wilson has prepared that for you to see our enrollment from the beginning of the year until now. And the other item is for your review this evening, and it will be an action item for Monday, and that is the job description for a fleet supervisor. We discussed this a little bit at our retreat. This position would help us offset the costs that we're currently incurring from mechanical work and bus repair. We're outsourcing a lot of that right now, and it's costing us, Mr. Schofield says, around $450,000, and this position will help us offset those costs because it's our goal to have this person be able to perform some of those repairs and maintenance in-house. And so that's for your review, and then there will be an action item on Monday. And once that position and job description is approved, we'll be able to post and seek a new teammate and candidate for that position. Any questions about that? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Todd. Mr. Hooper.
Is Georgia and TCU playing tonight? We're moving along fast. Feels like the national championship game all over again. Well, I want to invite some guests up here. Ladies, if you all come up here, please. Thank you all. I want to introduce some people quickly tonight. As I mentioned during our board retreat, all of our schools have communications ambassadors, and the majority of the primary communication ambassadors are our school librarian, our media specialist. Well, School Librarian Day happens to be during spring break. So another way to honor them is introduce them to you tonight. And so when you're on Facebook and you're seeing content pushed out, I want to put a face to the school of what they're doing. Something that I think is pretty incredible. Understanding there's a crossover, right? If someone they follow multiple Facebook accounts from our school system. But over the last 28 days, if you combined all the accounts reached from all of our school and our district Facebook page, we've reached 297,000 accounts. Now, understanding, like I said, there's crossover, but it goes back to the hard work that is being done at the school level to push content out from their schools. It's really incredible. We had 3 schools reach over 30,000 people in 28 days, and that's just for those schools. So really some incredible work being done at our school level. So tonight, I'll kind of run through a little bit of everybody who's here and those who are not. So from East Elementary, Ashley Wheeler, she's at her son's soccer game. She cannot be here, but she's been with Jackson County since 2015. From East Jackson Middle School, we have Miss Heather Wilbanks. She's been with Jackson County since 2014. From East Jackson Comprehensive High School, Renee Chandler. She's been with Jackson County since 1999. She's our longest tenured media specialist we have in our district. From Gum Springs, we have Miss Tracy Kofke, who's been with us since 2013. Miss Kofke loves when I email them. She loves the numerous emails that I give them. And she's not here, so I get to say that. From Jackson County High School, Miss Jill Weldon. She's been with us since 2008. From Maysville Elementary, we have Miss Renee Bridgewater, who's been with us since 2018. From North Jackson, we have Miss Sarah Mixon, who's been with us since 2007. From South Jackson, we have Miss Lisa Wilbanks. For those of you who've been around the school system a little while, she was the District Teacher of the Year in 2016-2017. From West Jackson Elementary, we have Miss Amy Vickers, who's been with us since 2005. From West Jackson Middle, we have Miss Carol Einitz, who's been with us since 2018. She's unable to be here tonight as well. She's recovering this evening. And then you notice I did not mention Empower. We do not have a media specialist for Empower. So who is our communication ambassador for Empower? It's none other than Dr. Mary Blackburn. And I want to comment on Dr. Blackburn. I gave her this compliment on the phone earlier today. She wasn't going to be here. We do not have a communication ambassador. She does it. She's also the chief operating officer here. She led all schools with accounts reached, with 43,000 accounts reached by Empower's Facebook in 28 days. So the work that she's doing as our chief operating officer and the communication ambassador, I told her on the phone earlier, truly a great job. So, but we literally would not be where we're at communicating without the work of these people that I recognize here tonight. And I thought it was great that they come and you put a face to some of them and they be recognized for their job. So thank you all, ladies. That's all I have. As Dr. Brown said, we have over 100 students being recognized on the 10th, and you'll hear a lot of me talking and going through those names. So unless y'all have any questions. Steam bus. Yeah, so Dr. Brown hit on earlier. I just want to remind you that the schedule, we'll have that going all day long. We end at Maysville Elementary, and so we'd love for you to come out. We've got the big scissors. The steam bus? Absolutely. So Dr. Harder could talk about it more too, but so it's it's the science, technology, and arts and engineering, mathematics. I said it in the wrong order, but it's an opportunity for our elementary school students to continue their STEAM education. It's going to visit all elementary schools. There's no seats on it. It's just a mobile classroom where they can learn STEAM education, and so it's going to go to every elementary school throughout the districts, which is why we're doing a ribbon cutting at every elementary school. It's the same scissors you cut the ribbon at East High School. We found those scissors in a closet, so we're going to use them. And something cool about the ribbon cutting is the teachers and the support people of the year from this past that were named in September are going to cut the ribbons at every school. And the principals can invite whatever students they want. We encourage them to make it a competition for attendance or best behaved or some competition they have. Of that's your reward to get to go out to the STEAM bus recognition and ribbon cutting. So
we took an old bus and refurbished it with technology.
Yeah.
In the parking lot, I would recommend driving by. You will not miss it. When you drive through the parking lot, you will see it. It's actually wrapped with what was student artwork. So taking our high school student artwork and then a company did the wrap on it, but it's pretty awesome. And then it's well equipped with both both literacy resources that align with the science standards at every grade level, as well as the technology. And our intent was just, sometimes we hear, different schools have programs, but not every school has that program, so this will bring that STEAM experience to every school. And we'll also do some professional learning for our teachers within the bus so that we can really kind of have that embedded professional learning experience and an awesome opportunity for our kids. So we're excited about it.
With CARES. It was approved, it was a capital project that had to be specifically approved, had to be applied for and approved, with DOE, and we were approved, and it has been fully funded.
There is no fire truck siren on it, though. I asked. They said no siren for the fire trucks. So, but I'll see you guys Monday, April 10th. So thank you.
Ms. Dodge?
Good evening. As you are aware, we are not quite finished with the month of March yet, so we do not have financials. We did get the information for SPLOS and the SPLOS deposit, so we do have that to present. We should have the full financials ready for you early next week, and we will email those out to you, and then we will attach them to the regular board meeting agenda for the public and for those to be looked at by any interested parties. But we'll talk about SPLOS first, and you can see that it's down a little bit from last month, but again, if you look, it is still significantly above the deposit we got this time last year. Hopefully things will start picking up when spring and spring break and summer and back to school shopping starts. So, but it's still very much in line with how we've seen things go this year, as far as it still being above where we were last year. And then I wanted to update you on a few things. One, we have the process for our fiscal year 22 audit has begun. So we're in the middle of that and working with our auditors. We had the entrance conference this week. So we will be getting back with you in the next 2 to 3 months, updating you and letting you know how that process went. We also were chosen by the U.S. Department of Education. The state of Georgia, along with Jackson County, was chosen to have a review done on some of their CARES activity. Great thing is we've already been audited on it by our auditors, so we should be fine. It's just a matter of submitting documentation to the U.S. Department of Education for them to have on file and review at their level. So we have those two things going on right now. Also, I wanted to update you on some of the things that has happened at the legislature this session. As you know, the governor approved a $2,000 pay increase to the teacher salary schedule. We also were approved for $50,000 per school for safety and security upgrades. So that's going to be a huge thing. And Mr. Schofield and his team will be working on that and getting those items in place for our schools. We also, of course, knew about the state health for certified. That is effective retro to January of this year. So we will be getting a bill for and also funding for certified positions that participate in state health. We will be seeing that probably in April, May, and June, the last 3 months of the fiscal year, the same as we will see our midterm adjustment start to come in. And I wanted to remind you that that is almost $3.8 million that we earned, and that's net. So that's a pretty significant funding increase for mid-year that we've gotten based on growth. Also, they did approve increasing state health premium or for employers for non-certified. Luckily, that will not go into effect until January 1st, 2024. And because it's a total expense, complete expense to us, it's nothing that's funded by the state, they're going to increment that increase. So it'll be $250, and then $135 over the next 2 to 3 years. They're going to do that increase. So it will be a budget impact. We already knew about it. It's included in the initial budget that was presented at the retreat. So we did account for that, and we're aware that that was pretty likely to happen. But I also wanted to let you know that of course, the legislature approved, governor's already signed the amended fiscal year 23 budget. So all of those items and our midterm midterm adjustment are all approved. And again, we should start seeing that in our April, May, and June QBE deposits. And then just as of last night, the House and the Senate approved the fiscal year 24 budget, and one of the largest public education budgets that's ever been approved by the state at $13.1 billion. So the state is really, really focusing on funding education in a more substantial way. So good news. The governor just has to put his signature on it now. So good news.
When will we see the monies, like the 50,000 plus the teachers' money?
Okay, the teachers is approved for next year's budget.
Right.
It actually is effective in September. So whatever is decided regarding raises, we would have to fund the first month, the month of August locally, and then the state would start providing the additional funds for that increase for certified or for teaching personnel. The security grant was actually approved in the amended fiscal year 23 budget. So those funds are already approved. They're ready to go. We've already started making plans for it and putting purchase orders in for those items. And also I'm sure we've mentioned several times that we have been in the midst of a salary audit, just to determine kind of where we land with similar school systems and local school systems. And myself and Ms. Todd have been going through that audit and the results in depth, and we are hoping to come to you in the next couple of weeks with some recommendations as far as what we think positions should be set at on that salary schedule, and maybe possibly the increases across the board. Okay. Any questions? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dodge. Mr. Schofield?
Good afternoon, Board. It's a pleasure to be able to present some information to the Board tonight. I've got a couple of items. I'm going to allow Mr. Farmer to speak on one, but first we have I'm asking for the Board an action item to approve our local facility plan. We've discussed this local facility plan throughout the year. It's kind of been tops of our agenda coming because the 5-year facility plan was on extension. So we began working on this early. Many changes had taken place throughout the year, as we all know. So our local facility plan had gone to the state for approval, so the facility services unit approved it. It's gone to a survey team, and they've come in and reviewed our plan and visited our facilities. They've approved it, and now we're at the step where the local board needs to approve the local facility plan. So I'm just asking for that. I think I've included some comments from the survey team. We reviewed those at the last meeting or during the board retreat as well. Resolution is pretty straightforward. Just basically says the board's willing to adopt that local 5-year facility plan and supports that motion. It identifies about $26 million worth of need, eligible need. Identifies over 150,000, over $150 million worth of needs other than that. So it's very comprehensive. Feel like we've done the system's done a good job updating that. I would like to say, as far as the budget was passed. They did fund capital outlay at 100% as well. So that's the funding for the new elementary, for Heroes Elementary. So we've kind of been keeping tabs on that throughout the session. Of course, governor's got to sign that budget, so that goes into effect at that time. But they did approve capital outlay at 100%, so that's positive. Any questions about that item? That will need to be signed, approved by the board and signed by Mr. Hollett. Any questions about that item? I'm going to allow Mr. Farmer to come up 2 minutes, talk updates.
Oh, Mr. Schofield, I have one question.
Okay,
When
sure.
are we expecting a guaranteed maximum price on Heroes?
Okay, so the plans and specs are pretty much on the street, or should be on the street any day now, for bidders to bid through our construction management firm. They anticipate getting those back in 30 days, and we should have that guaranteed price during our May board meeting. We hope to be able to present it at that time. We'll do some negotiatings behind the scenes. Hopefully we'll be able to do that. If not, we'll probably have to call a special session to get that approved, and that would be the worst case scenario. I will say we had planned or considered getting an early package out, but we were not able to do that with the timeline. Spring holidays kind of, everybody takes spring break, and in today's world that affects the working world as well, regular jobs as well, not only education. So they thought it was best we just hold off and include it in the big package. So excited about that. Okay, Mr. Farmer?
Thank you, Mr. Schofield. Dr. Brown, Board, I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak, and I will try to keep it within the 2 minutes. Just to update you on our monthly project update from Legacy Knoll, the brick and veneer, I'm glad to say, are complete. Carol Daniel is going through the punch list that was generated from Southern A&E with mechanical and electrical plumbing in the ceiling. Everything's going well with that. The final fixtures are being put in as we speak. Hope to finish that up next couple of weeks. The door and window frames, in some of the pictures you'll see this, are actually being painted their final coating. One big hurdle that we've overcome is the permanent power is on in the building, and you'll see a picture of the switch gear that represents that in just a few minutes. Casework has been installed throughout the building. Exterior doors are all installed. The interior will begin shortly. Kitchen quarry tile, this is something that has been an issue due to the color that was selected, but we do have that, and that will begin. Our first health inspection will be up and coming, so we're looking forward to making sure that goes well. Final concrete pour, you'll see this also, not the final concrete pour, but one of the final site work pours for the curb and gutter and the dock and the loading area around the cafeteria side. Some of the up and coming planning that we have and will be being done over spring break. Ceiling tiles starting at the 3rd floor, working their way down. The sports field, lighting and poles and netting are scheduled for early April. Very happy that that's going to come and be put in place. The field turf is to begin on the synthetic field in mid-April. HVAC equipment has, for the most part, arrived, and the crane is here, and they have begun setting that. Gym flooring has been delivered. It is being acclimated to the atmosphere and humidities to make sure that when it's laid, we don't have any issues with that. And the delivery schedule for the integrated in the construction schedule as far as furniture and things like that is being worked on also. Some of the pictures that we have from Legacy Knoll, the lighting fixtures, as you can see, since the last time we looked in the cafeteria, you can see a big difference in the amount of completion in these areas. The building is starting to take shape now. It's doing what I call the stage of having character, and so you're going to see that throughout these slides. The casework in the admin workroom, just another example of some of the casework that we talked about earlier. This is one of the most important things we have in our building, and that is our switch gear. This switch gear, it takes about a year to obtain one of these. Used to, you could get one in a couple of months. Now, if they're lead time like HVAC systems, they're a year out, basically. But that's the 3-phase power coming in, and that's a lot of electricity, a lot of heat coming in. So we're very pleased, very happy that is happening. This is the exterior concrete work. This is at the cafeteria. You can see the loading dock area and the just the amount of one of our last floors that we'll have there. The jet outs for the dumpsters and the ramp. Some more casework, kind of what a typical science room will look like on the 2nd floor. Interior windows and door frames being prepped for painting. And this is the outside. You can see that this is actually an old picture because all that's been completed. Just kind of the overall picture of the brick, the ephes. One thing that, this is great to see, really makes me, just get all excited. I know I use that word a lot, but it does. This is the turf field that we're looking at. We have been waiting for weeks and months on the weather to break, and it finally did. And this is just how fast that they're moving along with that. So we were able to put that other timeline in place. Any questions?
Yeah, I have one. So you said switchgear is a year out. What are we doing about the elementary school switchgear?
Thanks to Carol Daniel and to some planning on behalf of Carol Daniel, the architect, and our school system, the switchgear was ordered months ago, and it will arrive, and we will house that switchgear in our facility until it will be needed at Legacy Knoll. So that is one contingency that we've already accounted for and put in place.
You said Southern A&E does our punch list?
Yes, sir. They do that for all the overhead mechanical, electrical, and plumbing on the connections.
Okay. So they go through and physically check everything?
That is correct, sir. Yes, there's an engineer that comes on site. He goes through with Carol Daniel, and they create that punch list, and that has been completed, and that's what they're doing now.
Then what about general punch list?
General punch list will be done closer to the completion of the interior finishes. Some have already been done from a mechanical standpoint and electrical on the switches, and but usually that's done closer, as you know, toward the end of the project.
Do they do that as well, or is that's us?
That'll be a combination of Southern A&E and also myself and my facilities team. Yes, sir, and along with Carol Daniel. Any other questions?
Do you anticipate this being completed earlier than we had thought, or is it going to be on time?
You know, Miss Wheeler, if I tell you it will be, it'll rain for 2 months.
Well, I know.
But yes, ma'am,
It's looking very promising.
yes, ma'am, it is, and we look to be completed on time. Like I said, it's a tight schedule, but we look to be completed on time and have everybody in and ready to go for our kids come first day of school. Thank you.
Just to follow up, Ms. Wheeler, we're working on a timeline for that. We were working on it earlier today. We'll share that with the board as it comes out as far as our plan moving forward with moving in and transitioning from West Middle to staff and the whole 9 yards. So you'll be getting some information on that shortly. She can paint. That's good.
We might need you to correct.
Yeah.
Oh, I can correct.
I would be remiss just if I didn't just to please that Dwayne Peterson, he wasn't introduced earlier, but we are glad to have him on board in transportation. So we're excited about the things going on there. So I believe that's all I have. The safety and security, we will be bringing some items before the board because of the cost, the amounts of some of those items. We'll be bringing those to the board in May on the safety and security fund. So just look forward to that. Thank you all.
So we do have a need for an executive session. So if I can have a motion to go into executive session, please.
So moved.
Second? All in favor? All right, so we will be in executive Well, so you guys win the door prize for sticking around. Thank you. So we are coming back from executive session. If I can have a motion to come back from executive session, please. Motion. All right, all in favor? Aye. All right, passes. So we did discuss some personnel, and we are going to go ahead and approve that this evening. Yes. Yes, Ms. Todd. So if I can have a motion to approve the personnel list as we saw it this evening? And a second? All in favor? Aye. All right, so it passes. So, we're done. We stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a good spring break.